Alright, so I guess the big news here is that I got Model 2 games working. I had to put a little elbow grease into it. Basically, the deal with Model 2 is there's one emulator for it that's fully functional. MAME is making huge strides right now, and 277 might fully support Model 2, or at least be pretty close to it, but this is a fully supported, like fully functioning Model 2 emulator that they stopped developing in 2014. Like he just dropped the project and it wasn't passed on to anyone. And really, that's fine. Like it uses a normal video API and direct input, so it's not like it's fucking weird and some nightmare to set up. Generally speaking, if you can just download the original version of it, but you fucking can't. Good luck finding that. The one I found had been fucked with in all sorts of ways. They've made all these config files trying to make games widescreen that aren't widescreen and stuff. Sometimes successfully, sometimes not. So I had some games that were stretched and things like that that I had to fix. Controls were all fucked up. I just had to redo everything there. Not a big deal though. The game's controller setting interface isn't as fucked up as I thought it was. Video modes though, I had to edit the config file and things like that. I was trying to use old VGA modes that my TV doesn't support, and my capture card doesn't support, and now it's just running in regular 1080p but scaled to 4:3, and it's perfect. Got VSync, got good audio, got good control, analog control. A little bit on the touchy side, but not too bad. I got everything worked out except for light gun games, which is, I think, going to be a much harder project, but I'll get around to that eventually. There's some stuff I definitely want to play there as well. So yeah, we're just going to do normal race on each track, and then we'll bump it up to like endurance races that you never get to see in the actual arcade unless you're the operator. That's what's really fun about all these games. They have all these like long endurance race modes where you can really get into it and enjoy the fact that, and you'll actually like understand why it has a pit and stuff like that. So very cool. But yeah, this game controls and plays great. I think it has a Saturn version. I'm not sure if that game's good or not, but it probably is. I can definitely tell you the arcade game is great. One of the things that was shocking about the Sega racing games from this era, yeah, is just the huge number of cars in the race. 20, 30, 40 cars per race. Nobody else was doing that. Namco's games have like 12 cars. Most games have like between 8 and 12. And Lord help you if there were 11 other cars on the screen at the same time. In most games, you're looking at a bad frame rate. Yeah. Model 2 games seem to never have a bad frame rate. They all seem to be very tuned to a sharp 60 hertz VSync or whatever. Probably 57 hertz. This is probably not quite the exact right speed. Like this might be slightly too fast, or it just may not be the original frame rate. It may have a bunch of extra frames. Not a bunch of extra frames, but a few extra frames inserted. Either way, it looks totally normal, so there's nothing to fret about. But you can force it to run at the original refresh rate. Both of the Model 2 and the Model 3 emulator, the only ones that work, Nebula and Supermodel, respectively. they don't have a separate like internal external rendering resolution. Like it's not like it renders the game at a certain resolution that scales it to a certain output. I mean, it does, but I mean, it doesn't let you set them separately. Everything does, you know what I mean? It renders, it has a certain way that it is in memory of how many pixels there are, and then there's a certain number of pixels it uses on the screen. If it's a lower number, it scales up to it or whatever. Normal shit. But it really means that there's no way to do like normal 1080p output but play the game in its original resolution or anything like that. So when I play these Model 2 and 3 games, you might be like, damn, those are sharp. I can't believe games looked that good back then. Well, it kind of didn't. It was half this resolution, so they were sharp. They looked good. They were like 480p 60 game, 480p 57 games. So they looked good in the arcade, but not quite this good.
Please select a course. Highway raceway. Please select a transmission. Automatic transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine. The race begins from a rolling start. Ready, go!
Sorry, I was freaking out there a little bit trying to get the camera working. The camera buttons for this game are kind of odd compared to other ones. There's like just 2 buttons, not 1 or 4. There's 4 views. Each of the 2 buttons set the 2 views. Like there's 1 button for the 2 internal views and 1 button for the 2 external views. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. I don't think I ever saw this game in the arcade, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of these Model 2 games in the arcades, possibly. Certainly wasn't as common as Daytona, which I saw literally everywhere I went, or Sega Rally, which I saw sometimes. But it's also more common than like Over Rev or Touring Car, which I don't think I've ever seen. For sure. Or it may have been. At least I was aware of this game. Oh, and I would see Manx TT quite a bit too. That was pretty common. That was going to be the motorcycle game in any given arcade. Yeah, actually, I'm pretty surprised how common Model 2 games are, considering how expensive the hardware was. Same thing with Model 1. Virtual Racing and Daytona were super common. Those used to be arcade games you could buy really cheap because they're huge and they're common, and people don't want this huge old thing taking up space anymore. I don't know if that's still true or not, but you used to be able to pick up a Virtual Fighter cabinet for the price of, if you can just please get this fucking thing out of here. that would often be the price. If you could transport it and make it disappear from this warehouse or storage unit or whatever, then yes, thank you. So I've got Model 3 working, I've got Model 2 working, and I guess the next logical question is how do you get Model 1 working? As far as I know, MAME is the only answer, and the last time I used it, the emulation wasn't great. I hope it's improved, maybe? It's something I'd like to look into at least, but man, Model 1 might be the trickiest one for me to get up, actually, of any of these.
Please select a course.
Alright, now we do the most complex track, Bayside Street.
Transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine. The race begins from a rolling start.
Put another hard drive into my PlayStation today. Gave it another 2 terabytes. So that means that I was able to put Tekken back on. I'm gonna practice Tekken. Maybe stream Tekken at some point. I know everyone's mad at Tekken right now. I don't know why, because I haven't been playing it. I feel like whatever it is, it's something that's going to be so high level that it's not going to apply to me, and I don't care. You know, I might even do one more short series of races before I turn on the long ones. I just really want to get a feel for the variety and stuff before I dive deep into trying to master 150 lap race or whatever the fuck it's going to turn out to be. 500 lap race. 500 lap race in a game with no pause button? Hell yeah. I think there's a little bit of a layering problem back there with graphics not rendered correctly, but I wouldn't be surprised if it existed in the arcade hardware too. Polygon glitching was so much more common back then that, and it catches me off guard when I see it in a Model 2 game, but they have them, you know, clipping errors and such. Collision detection is real bad on Sega Rally, actually. But yeah, it catches me off guard because so much of the rendering is clean, especially in high res. Yeah, this was also the PlayStation era where just fucking texture warping and layering and like polygon cracking was, and flickering and polygons disappearing and clipping out and stuff too was really common. A mess of pixels compared to this shit. That was still an era of the arcade is so much better. The arcade is so much smoother. The graphics are so much better. That was the thing back then. And 3D effects came along and blew that up like a nuclear bomb with their Voodoo hardware, which it was immediately followed by a whole new generation of 3D processors that were affordable. Then there really wasn't anything special an arcade game could do all of a sudden. Oh, I didn't DNF on it, that's good. Yeah, play's not bad. I feel like the controls are really tight and good in this game. We need to do the long form, but I'm not going to do it quite yet. I'm going to take a drink here. This is so cool. And of course, we're going to do all the Daytonas and all the Sega rallies and all that shit at some point too. This isn't going to be an all racing game channel or something. I'll get burned out on it after a little while and have to split it up. But you know, if anyone thought it was the all shooter or all fighting game channel, either, you're also wrong. This is an all action game channel.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your
So really the only thing I'm playing that I'm not streaming is the Oblivion remaster, which I just squeezed in here and there. That's a hell of a lot of fun. And Diablo, but only at the beginning of the seasons. We're at the tail end of the season, and at least that's next week now, so I'm not doing that. But I probably will play Season 8, and I probably will not stream it. On Diablo 4, I mean. Oh, and of course I have this on very easy, which is not very easy at all for me because it's a fucking arcade game. But for those of you who are racing pros, feel free to make a mockery of me. And my bullshit automatic transmission, third person playing nonsense. Well, yeah, I've also been playing the Crew Motorfest sometimes when I have, and that's mostly what I was playing before I got Oblivion. So I might stream that tonight as kind of a send-off before it gets replaced by Forza Horizon 5. Which is part of the reason why I bought the hard drive. That's another 120 gig game after just installing a 120 gig game. Oblivion's 120 fucking gigs. It used to be 5, but somehow it got, 20 times bigger. 25 times bigger. It's, how things do. Yeah, here we go. We still got the other 2 to do. I'm just glad that I finished in 3rd that time. That's pretty impressive for me.
Please select the automatic transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine. The race begins from a rolling start. Ready, go!
They basically put the corkscrew from Laguna Seca. Laguna Seca. Is that the right name of that? This corkscrew right here is wild stuff. Oh, not there. Was it after the grove? Yeah, after the grove. Climb here, and then here it goes. Sega Blue Skies. Man, the last eight or nine cars really tough to catch up with. That's going to be fun in longer races, having some opponents at the top that really put up a fight.
Please select the course. Inside street. Please select the transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine. The race begins from a rolling start. Ready? Go!
We can also consider reinstalling Gran Turismo 7. It's a good game, but it's very big, and I don't like the way a lot of its content is formatted. If that makes any sense. At least one YouTuber I followed said that they couldn't even play it because of how pretentious it was, which I think is pretty funny. I don't think that would drive me away from most games. That certainly didn't stop me from playing GT7, but it's not like I didn't notice the pretentiousness. It is ridiculous. And I do not like the cafe format of doing missions to progress or whatever. I would have much preferred something more like a traditional tournament structure or just a big grid of menus. Like, whatever. which it does have a big grid of menus option for racing. Well, most racing games do. It's not like it's featureless in that way or whatever. But it doesn't have the same playthrough feel, and like the way the gameplay was kind of gated in the older Gran Turismo games. I think it was kind of made for a better experience in some ways. Better and worse. I don't know. I actually really like the way even though it's a much different, much more arcade-like game, and the Crew Motorfest, I really like the way the events are formatted and the options of different gameplay that you have. It's very excellent how they did that. Even though the UI for selecting that shit sucks balls to high heaven because it's an Ubisoft game, and Ubisoft, it's as if they're not even human. I don't know. There's a lot of developers I make that complain about. Once we get Grand Theft Auto 6, I'll get to make all those same complaints again too. Has anyone at Rockstar ever played a fucking video game before? Yeah, there's a few developers who have their own weird-ass ways of doing things that aren't particularly good, but the games are so good you power through it, you know what I mean? Well, this has been a blast, but now we need to turn it up to do the long races. And before I do that, I'm going to take a little break. I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, so I'm getting really good at using these test switches to change things. What we're doing here is changing race mode to long, alright? I wonder how long races are. I hope they're actually long. But any amount longer is a bonus. I think this is a very fun game to play.
Please select the course. Indy 500. Please select the automatic transmission.
Warning, the other two tracks are fake. They're phonies.
The race begins from a rolling start. Ready? Go!
Laps. Okay, yeah, that's more like it. That's more like, so usually the other games have a Grand Prix and endurance option, and long is basically Grand Prix. If this had an endurance option, it'd have like a 50 lap mode or some shit. It doesn't, sadly. But this is possibly long enough to where I'll need to use the pit. Maybe not on this track. Maybe not on this track. But on this, you know, it might also be long enough for me to win if I don't pit, so... I might do a 20 lap race of this in first person as well, on this track at least. Like cockpit view or something, really sim it up, right? Fuck you, buddy. Oh, you can eat an ass. I might need to upgrade the hard drive in the simulation box as well. I've been thinking about that. I'm pretty sure I have an external, like, not solid state drive in an enclosure you could use. It would give like another terabyte or two. I don't really need an SSD for a lot of ROM storage. Mostly the ROMs are loaded into memory when you fire them up, and then the entire game's in RAM is the way most emulators work. Which means that, you know, later era games like this, because this is probably like a 500 megabit game or some shit, and it could be, you know, it could be anywhere between 200 and 500 megabits, probably based on the sizes I've seen for Model 2. So that's like what, like 30 or 40 megabytes or some shit, and it just goes into memory. You can get into mobile devices that have very limited memory and stuff. Emulators sometimes have to start working differently. And then you get into later era games, and then it's a whole situation where you're just emulating the system's RAM and then actually reading from a disk, which is going to be your hard drive or whatever. So it depends. But I don't think that using a regular hard drive or even a USB drive would impede performance too much on most things. I think this machine has a 512 gig SSD in it, and I believe I'm just past the halfway mark on it. The full Model 2 collection is about 640 megabytes, so just a little over half a gig, if anyone's curious. You can fit it on a CD-ROM. Barely. Just, yeah, as long as they're compressed. That was the zip file size. Very easy might be too easy. Right. We'll see how I do on the more complex tracks. I think that's going to be a big factor as well. Also, there may be tire wear or something. I may start to run into trouble later and have to pit or something. We'll see. I could still have an accident with somebody I'm lapping. We'll see. But I am kind of blowing it the fuck out. I feel like as long as I can stay off the wall, though, I'm probably not going to need to pit. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be getting any harder to control. Yeah, I'd say at the wrong time, perhaps. Still made a good time, though. Who's this asshole? How's he getting up on me? Yeah, see, now they still put in some fight. Maybe very easy, still pretty good for a challenge. Maybe not, though. That was a really good time. My best lap yet, so that definitely makes me think I don't need to pit or anything. We'll see how that goes on more complex tracks, though, where I'm almost certainly going to bump something somewhere every time I lap. Overcorrecting there, but at the end it does give you an idea of how sensitive the steering is, which I think feels right for like a formula style racing game. I actually think that this feels really good. I like how that one car back there basically has the Marlboro livery. Of all the custom liveries I see on the Crew Motorfest, the Marlboro cigarette F1 car is like one of the most common. It's iconic, I guess. Ooh. Last minute frustration. What a dickhead. Little bumps like that add up real bad, and getting them at the very last minute is probably really bad. Pitting maybe is the strategy to avoid this from happening too, like having shit fall apart on you at the very last lap, or 2 or 3 or whatever. I feel like it's definitely too late to use this strategy now, and I gotta hang in there. I'm almost certainly going to strategically pit in my next attempt and see how it goes. I don't know that that's necessarily the thing to do, but we'll see. Now, these games tend to have slingshot handicapping, so I'm kind of thinking of the idea is that if you pit in the middle of it, and then you spend the rest of the race chasing your way back up to the front, which it'll let you do because you're being slingshotted up to the front. Whereas if you're riding in the front the whole time, now the enemies behind you are being slingshotted up, and they're going to pick up on even the slightest bump, and they're always going to be nipping your tail, you know. Case in point. Yeah, perfect demonstration of what I said. It's right there. I still think it was a little too easy though. Especially, yeah, to have a no pitting strategy. It seems a little too easy. I maybe need more aggressive AI or something to be a little more entertained there, but we'll see how the other tracks are. What I'd like is even the hardest track to be doable, even if I don't win it. Maybe I come in like third or fourth, something like that, you know. We'll see. Stepping it up a notch. Highland Raceway.
Please select the transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine. The race begins from a rolling
Gonna be
start.
about 10, 12.
Ready, go.
17. Ooh. Ooh, doggy. I handled that pretty poorly, but game's not overly punishing for kind of terrible performance there. This is definitely not Sega's hardest racing game. This is not an AM2 game, it's an AM1 game, actually. AM2 being much more known for their racing games during this period. I think AM2 have a credit on it because I think it's using Daytona's engine. But, which they, I guess they developed, but it's a pretty interesting one. I think Daytona kicks my ass even on easy, but it doesn't have it very easy. This one's pretty hard on super easy here, so I'm not catching up. I keep falling behind. That first track was, I got to first within a few laps. Basically, it just showed me that, yeah, if you were playing the regular mode, you had like one more lap, you'd win. Which is kind of always how I felt. Ah, you piece of shit. Now I'm way behind. Yeah, I'm not kicking this track's ass by any means. Ah. The worst part is I think I'm going to actually really need the pit here in a lap or two. I'm not even questioning about it. I wanted to do it when I had about 8 laps to go, but I think it's going to be more like, yeah, maybe, well, let's see how long we hang in there. I'm not all fucked up yet, but I feel like I'm a little fucked up. I have a lot of bumping with people. It's not that it's not driving straight, but I'm not sure about the grip. I'm just falling further and further behind stuff. I think I'm going to do it on this lap. It should give me enough time to catch back up. And if it goes poorly from there, I might try this without pitting and see. Because I don't really know if I'm fucked up. I've had some accidents. I don't feel like I don't know if could be driving better or not. I think pitting will reveal that. Like, I think I'll feel it if it's different. Because it'll be a sudden, instant change back to full status. Instead of how it's been theoretically and gradually degrading. Yeah, maybe it does. Hell, maybe I should even be pitting twice, who knows? Who knows what the pitting strategy is? shit. Oh shit, fifth. Man, that's a long ass race. Alright, here we go.
Please select the course. Bayside Street. Please select the transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine. The race begins from a rolling start. Ready? Go!
15. The music freaked out there for a while. Definitely felt like I was having some audio problems. Or maybe the track ends and has a long stretch where it doesn't play. That doesn't make sense though, because there's only one lap. It's not like I'm 10 laps into this. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why the audio cut out. Very weird. That was some pretty bad turning there for a while. Probably not a very good lap overall, but the time says otherwise. More weird shenanigans with the music, right? Yeah, it's holding a note a long time there. I don't really think it should. Sounds like the music's fucked up here. This game may have some audio problems. I'm going to pit after this one. A little funky. I don't know though. Maybe, maybe not. I like trying it, at least as a strategy for this round. Oh, it's on the right. Well, I'll have to do it next round then. No choice. I'm kind of thinking about doing the Castlevania challenge again tomorrow. I don't have anything else going on, I don't think. Ah, that'd be fun. Hope you guys like Castlevania. A nice rainy Sunday. And now things are going to shit anyway. Better time to pit. Get on over there eventually. Yeah, Sega Racing is so magical. Even if the audio is fucked up. Totally worth it. sucked. Everything about that was terrible. Oh god, it's getting worse. I think I may have fucked up my car. Let's see if it spins out every time now. See if I can get it back together. There's only 2 more laps, too. I'm screwed. That completely cooked me. That's more than I wanted to slow down. I took that wrong and terribly. You know, to celebrate my new hard drive space, I might do a stream of all the Raiden games. Because I have 3, 4, and 5 on PlayStation. Yeah, PS4, PS5 versions of those games. And they're really fun. And I did do that before. I played the 5 core Raiden games but that was a long time ago on Twitch. On YouTube, about a year ago, I played the Raiden Fighters trilogy and Viper Phase 1. So basically all the immediate spin-offs of Raiden. Not counting that new weird-ass overhead free-scrolling Raiden game, which I had completely forgotten about until just right now. But I could do, the Core 5 Raiden games, or maybe even the Core 5 and Raiden DX. Maybe even Raiden DX in place of 2 or with 2. I don't know. We'll see. I forget how different DX is from 2. Does it have the regular game in it? I feel like it has a remixed version of the regular game. I don't know. And then it has like that endlessly scrolling version of the first level, which is the practice mode or whatever, but it's actually what it is like a caravan scoring mode. A very unusual thing to see in a arcade game. Yeah, I kind of want to do those. There's a bunch of shooters I still want to play, of course. There's a bunch of Model 2 and Model 3 stuff I want to play, so I'll probably do either a Daytona or Sega Rally series. I already did do some Sega Rally because I did Sega Rally 1, the PS2 version. I'd probably just emulate it through Nebula now, but and then I've done Sega Rally 2. Have I done Sega Rally 2? No, I haven't done Sega Rally 2. Not since I fixed the emulation on it. And then there's Sega Rally 2006, which I've already done. And then there's Revo and 3, which I don't have right now. I could probably get 3 set up through TechnoParrot, though. So maybe I will do a Sega Rally series at some point. I feel like the same thing with Daytona. If I do it, I could do let's see. If you want to see some Daytona games, I can do this one, of course, the Model 2 version, Model 3 sequels, Daytona 2 and Daytona 2 Power Edition. We can do that weird Dreamcast version of Daytona. And what else is there on Daytona? Oh, and then Daytona 2017 through Technopad. If I actually played that with my buddy Kelly Swangy or 100 Years. If you've seen him in any multiplayer streams I've done, we played when we were down in Dallas. I went to the free play arcade and played Daytona 2017. I kind of don't like it on real hardware. There's too much hardware, like there's too much rumble and like walking of the wheel and stuff. And I wonder if it feels the same way, playing with a controller on Technopad or not. I don't know if I'd like it or not. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that game, so I don't know. And anyway, I will be back with more. I'm a fan of this for sure, and I'll be back with more 8500 after a short break here, and we're going to mix it up a little bit. So, be back in just a minute. So yeah, the Model 2 games all look really good because Sega had really good art design. That's like the main thing. They knew the bright colors and the right kind of textures to use for this filtering and stuff to with the limited resolution and model quality that they had available. This is like what best conveys F1 racing. And like yeah, like everything is always bright, easy to read with the eyes, which is I think is important in an arcade style game. Is a visual distinguish what you're driving up against and competing against and such. And you see what I'm doing different this time. I'm in that cockpit view, which I might find too distracting. I might need to switch to the true first-person view, which I probably will. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Let's try the first-person bumper cam. See how it goes. Well, it doesn't give me a camera. I don't like it. I would rather actually use the... at least this maybe give me an indication of damage to my vehicle. Even if it does kind of obscure part of the road. I do want to see if I can get a better start there. That was rough. Let's give it another shot. Yeah, driving in the first person is trickier than I thought. Just wait till you see the shit show of me trying it on the other tracks. It's gonna be amazing, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine. The race begins from a rolling start. Ready? Go!
I like this mode. You gotta pay attention for sure. When you're passing through traffic and stuff, you really gotta be able to judge it in the first person.
Time extended.
Maybe don't pit at all unless I've genuinely had an accident or something.
Time extended.
Oh, you bitch. Oh, that was brutal.
Time extended. Time extended. Time extended.
You fucking piece of shit. Oh man.
Time extended.
It's pretty decent time considering the combat.
Time extended.
Good time.
Time extended.
Ooh, lost rate, not good.
Time extended.
38 and a half seconds, pretty par though. As long as I'm turning those in, it's fine.
Time extended.
Good time. Lots of drafting. I wonder why Indianapolis required such a prominent warning to like on the opening screen that the other two tracks are fantasy tracks. I think people are going to show up and demand to see Bay City and Highland Park, whatever the hell this is called, or the other one's called. I mean, I should go to Daytona and ask them where the fucking giant alien. Yeah, you know, the one that's right past the pirate ship. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, that sucks ass. I'm probably gonna have to pit. We have 5 laps to go. We got this whole lap to find out if I'm riding pretty rough, it looks like. I wonder if it's better to pit or not pit. I'm gonna say not, since I just passed it. I don't know if that was a good decision. 38.5. It's fine. I just have to fight my way back up to first is all in a kind of janky ass car. And I hit the grass there. Ran into a stalled out car. Jesus, it's getting rough. Okay. Pit lane here. I may have been way too early on this. I don't know though. Yeah. Car's all fucked up. See, this makes the races a lot more interesting. This game controls pretty easy with a controller from third person though. But a lot of people play do that. It controls well here too, I just didn't get used to it. And I'm just having worse luck this time too on some certain bullshit things. Like running into a car that's completely frozen in front of me. What the fuck is that? probably have time for one more. I guess I'll do Highland. I have a feeling Bay is going to be pretty hard for first person. I wish I had time to do it, but I'm going to have to move on to some stuff here. Probably. I might be back tonight, though. I might be back to do like I said, the Crew Motorfest while we're on this racing game kick, and something I play anyway and have been playing. I need to earn a lot of money, so I can do a mixture of single player and online events to kind of work at that, pick at that a little bit. I've been kind of working my way through the grid on it, doing all the events with all the vehicles that they require. Very cool game. I highly recommend it. I don't know if Forza is a way better game or not. I haven't played Forza Horizon since the first one, which I thought was fantastic, by the way. Very, very high regard. Really like Bizarre Creations anyway. I think they're great developers, and that's pretty much who got absorbed into the Forza Horizon team. This track's fun. This is actually fun to do in first person. The control's great. Having Model 2 and 3 working now, it's changing my video gaming life, y'all. I can pretty much have a Sega freak out anytime I need to. Every one of these games is fun to fire up and play for 10 minutes or 4 hours, depending on what you can and want to do. They all hold up so well. Almost every one of them is so fun. A lot of people see this particular one too as being like the spiritual successor to retro racing, since you're back in Formula cars again. But on, kind of on Sega Fantasy World tracks. Not as colorful of a game though in a lot of ways, and that's another thing that maybe a downside compared to Daytona. That being said, I've noticed that Daytona is very faded looking on Nebula. If anyone knows a fix for that, I'd love to know what it is. I checked the Switch options to see if there was some sort of arcade versus TV monitor type setting or something. There's really not that I could find. Pretty obvious what this track's invoking. If you're familiar with Mazda Speedway or whatever the fuck they call Laguna Seca now. Is that the right name, Laguna Seca? I need to look that up. Make sure I'm getting that right, but it's definitely got some parts that are that corkscrew area and the two turns after it feel like you're there. But the, castle bridges and shit are distinctly Sega. Perfectly symmetrical meadow that shadows the road or whatever, or grove or whatever the fuck I'm driving through there. got real bouncy and I came out ahead, but I hope my car's not all messed up. There would have been the opportunity to pit if I needed to. I wasn't trying to. I was trying to slip that guy and to block me. Shit. Everyone just overtook me. Every single person. I was just realizing the one that I said earlier looked like a Marlboro livery. It really doesn't because it's blue on the sides, but when you're directly behind it, it does. That's real bad. Lots of bad things have happened, but I don't know if pitting is the solution to them, or if it's just bad luck otherwise. Obviously, that was a terrible lap. If this lap is also terrible, then yeah, I'm gonna probably have to pit or something. I came to a complete dead fucking stop. That's one way to do it, I guess. Yeah, I'm back at it. 56 ain't great, but I had just one weird turn where I did something stupid. Okay, that's not great either, though. That's happened a couple times. Shit. basically forced to make the decision. You have incomplete data. I think I'm alright though. Nothing feels weird. That couldn't have possibly gone better, probably. That went great too. Not bad. One of my dogs is getting dramatic behind me because I know it's about time, almost time, not quite time. They had a late breakfast today. That's pretty shitty. I just want to see if there's any visible body damage next time I get to a straight. Not really. But I'm also like spinning out every turn, aren't I? I think this is a hard lesson learned. You got to pit at least once, or else your turns are going to be shitty at the very end of the race. And the smart move is you're probably just pitting in the middle of the race somewhere. I don't know though. Is it bad playing or is it a bad car? Like there, I'm still nailing most of that. I feel like I did pretty well this run, so let's see what my time's like. Kind of did shitty on that last turn, but most of the turns were pretty tight. 55, same as normal. Ooh, fuck you. Hard trance screw. I'm actually in time danger here. And DNFing it. Damn. 10th. 11th. It just keeps getting worse. What? Oh man, that's pretty challenging. I think that the lesson learned there though is to go ahead and pit in the middle so that because you lose just enough traction to where the last 3 laps or so you're like cutting into dirt no matter what. So at least that's my experience here. Pit, move on with your life. You can definitely catch up because of these races are long enough in this mode, and you want to do that in the middle around lap 7, 8, or 10, depending on which race you're doing, and then basically, yeah, use the handicapping to catch back up. But anyway, that's Indy 500, another great Sega racing game, the one that kind of flies under the radar. I think it does have a Saturn version. Maybe you'll check it out eventually. I don't know if it has some like cool like extra features or anything or not, or if it's just a straight arcade port like Manx was and Sega Rally was. But oh, and yeah, we'll do a bunch of Sega Rally, a bunch of Daytona, stuff like that eventually. But I want to keep mixing it up. So the next racing game you'll probably see is The Crew Motorfest for PlayStation 5. So that'll be a much more modern game than I usually stream. And then maybe we'll do those ride and shooters that I was talking about. A lot of those will be played on the PlayStation 5. A lot of them won't. So, it'll be a mix. Anyway, if you like action games, keep checking it out. And thanks for watching.